I think it's more about, honestly, not necessarily the resolutions themselves and the list and like January 1st, let's go, even though that's exactly what I do.
Yeah.
Um, it's like right now, December 5th, when we're taping this, till like the end of the year, are you having those conversations? Because some of it won't happen.
Hmm.
Maybe all of it will for certain of you out there who don't have kids yet. And like you can really commit to the lifestyle change or idea that you really want to achieve.
Welcome back to episode 2 with Be Bad by Chris, also known as my husband, Chris LeVeque. In today's episode, we are going to dive into New Year's planning for 2025 and give you the second part to our 2-part series. All right, what is your favorite trait about me? And I'll say what my favorite trait is about you.
I mean, that's like choosing like a favorite flavor of ice cream. Like they're all so good. There's so many different traits that I would say would be my favorite or that I'd admire the most. Um, that's a hard one because I don't want to discount your other qualities. I would say it's kind of a tie between just like really true love for me, for your kids. Like, I don't know that that's like a trait, but it's like you just have love. You have an aura of love around you, and that gives you good friendships. You work with both your sisters now. Have a great relationship with your parents. You like connect with your kids. You still, you know, put up with me. So there's like that love aspect, that just like joy for life, and joy for the people in your life, and joy for people who aren't in your life, like helping your community or people who follow you or read your books or eat your protein powder. um, and I'd say the second thing is resiliency. I mean, that's like you pick yourself up and you go through it. Like, um, whether it's a delayed shipment these days with like, a key ingredient for this product that you really want to share with people, and you have to wait like an extra 3 months. Okay, well, how am I going to like make this a good thing? How am I going to like not let this, how am I not going to complain about this? Like you're good about like you complain and then you're on to the next thing. I'm more like, I'll complain. This is part 2 of the complaining, part 2 of 10. We've got a long way to go here until I processed it. It just seems like you process quick. It's like a match. It's like it's struck, and if it's like moved in the wrong way out of oxygen, it just goes out. And you're really good at that, which makes you a good decision maker. So I think that resilience is a really positive quality to have, and it's a really good thing to show people. Your own story, I think, is really inspiring. Just going from pharmaceutical sales and steel sales and other sales to like following your passion, putting yourself out there, dealing with the imposter syndrome, dealing with all of these things in life, and then making a name for yourself, deciding to put that name on a product and like to launch that product, to put in money, like that all takes such resiliency. You had to go into doctor's offices and hear no, 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 or like deal with staff who were like, here's some 22-year-old trying to sell me the latest pharma thing way back in the day, and dealing with that over and over and over, makes you resilient, makes you be able to take the risks and start a podcast and be okay with it being filmed.
Yeah.
And then uploading it and
Hopefully
sharing
this is
it. Yeah. But even if it's not, or it doesn't
matter,
do
I'm not gonna
as
watch
well
it.
as you want, or you don't say what you think you should, like you'll just move on to the next guest. Like, you know what I mean? And like some people like me would be like living in the rear view mirror versus living through the windshield. Like you're looking out the windshield And I'm like checking the rear view, being like, gosh, that guy's really close to me. Why is he so close to me? Does he need to be this close? Where does he have to go?
Yeah.
And you're just like living life straight ahead. So I think that's a positive quality.
Thanks, babe. It was really sweet. I feel like what you're talking about that may be slightly negative about you is actually one of my favorite traits about you. And it's that you care. Like the only reason you're checking the reviews or going back and looking and reviewing your tapes is because you want to be better, and because you care. And you care on a level that I think is not really the norm anymore. And I said it in the intro, like you are the son-in-law that reads the updates on the family chat and makes thoughtful contributions to you make everyone feel good because you see them and see them for all of their beauty and all of the traits that make them who they are. And you make everyone feel good because you make everyone feel seen. And that is, people are so distracted nowadays. They don't even sit to have a conversation. They're not making eye contact. They're constantly on their devices. Like, and you always take the time and you always do it right. And that shows up in like our family communications and our relationship, in your coaching, like even just the emails that you go to send your team. Like
I know it's a big day when I have to send an email. So
it
that's
is.
like it takes a long time. It takes longer than it takes you. You'd be like, are you still working on this email? I'm like, it has to be great.
It is
Like these
great.
parents are like giving their kid to me for an hour. I want them to have fun. I want them to know what they're learning and why. I want them to like, you know. So anyways, I don't need any more like
You don't like
flowers
the
and
fluff?
compliments.
Yeah, I know. Making you awkward. Are you twitching?
I just,
Well, it is
I
what
appreciate
I
what
love
you're
the
saying, but you don't need to say it.
It's what I love the most about you. It stood out when we were dating, and it stands out today, like from everything.
Well, I like people who take ownership of stuff. Like really, like I'm amazed at some of the ways that people take ownership in the world, and I truly like mean that. Like if you are a ditch digger and you dig the best ditches, like you are such an important part. Like the pipe layer who comes next for like, sorry, this is what I literally think about is like the guy who's laying like the sewage line. Like there's nothing more important in our city than like not having like sewage. Like, yeah. It's like those guys taking ownership of their job is like so incredible. And it goes all the way up to the top. And like you see that, I wish our politicians took more ownership over their jobs. I wish that, certain segments did that you don't feel like they do. And so I think that what I try to do is like the things I do have ownership of, I try to own them, So
And I think that it shows. You put a lot of pressure on yourself to do the best job possible, and you have high standards for yourself, and you always have. And
yeah, I just mean like if the garbage men don't show up, like chaos.
Yeah,
Like literally those
absolute.
guys are so important. Like you're gonna have trash piled up on your street.
I know.
And
People
think
take it for
about what
granted.
that would do to like society. Like that we all function together when we all take ownership. No job is unimportant. They're all like so mission critical. That's my little soapbox
I like it.
rant.
Well, speaking of mission critical, we couldn't do what we do without you. You're mission critical for all of our launches, for all of the big things that I want to do, whether it's launching something at Be Well by Kelly or deciding let's finally take that international trip. I couldn't do it without you. You're like, obviously 50-50. We're like parenting together, and we have this little family, and we took them away. So what tips and tricks do you have for families? That was not a very good
Yeah,
transition.
you can just ask the question.
All right. So we took this amazing international trip this summer, but it was our first one in 6 years. It's something we love to do prior to kids, and we prioritized.
Right.
And then we built up the courage to do it with 3 little boys. under 6.
Mhm.
What tips and tricks do you have for families who want to take an international trip or a big trip nationally? Um, what made it hard and what would you do differently?
Pack light if you have small children because you will have to be helping them and carrying them. You don't need more luggage. You don't need more shirts. You're not going to wear them. You're not going to wear those shoes. You're not.
Yeah.
Like, pack light. That's number one. And if you're going to Europe, there's plenty of places with affordable things that you could buy if you really needed them. Number two, you know, if you are comfortable with like screen time, it helps. Whether it's a game that is like a learning based game or a show that's not too crazy to like help ease those times with the kids where you know, coloring and puzzles or mazes and stuff like that, like you just run out of that. So
Mm.
I'd say like it's okay to lean on that for
Mm.
sure, especially for the travel part.
Yeah.
Just put the boundaries up, like, not for the first hour of the plane flight or for the last hour, but for the 3 hours in between or 2 hours in between, go for it, buddy.
Hmm.
Or the train. Like that was our rule in France was like planes, trains, and like long car drives, like 6 hours plus. Then you can use those devices.
Hmm.
And honestly, we needed them to because the baby was napping on us or napping in the car or needing to nap on the plane or nurse. Like there was a logistical purpose to it. Like we need you people to sit down and shut up for an extended period of time
Yeah.
and not ask us any questions, like so that like we can like be there for the baby because like
Yeah.
that is like a two-person job on an airplane. So pack light, be okay with more screen time than you normally are
Hmm.
if you have a lot of transfers. Um and like explore, like don't adhere to your normal schedule. Like throw the schedule out the window. The baby naps wherever. You don't go back to the hotel room. Don't go back to the Airbnb. Like stay out and stay late. And you're gonna deal with some stuff at the end of the day because of that or during the day, but you will get out of it what you want to. And I think when your kids see that, it transfers to them. And honestly, with kids, like you're gonna end up doing like 80% of the stuff is gonna be based around them anyways.
Hmm.
So on your way to the Louvre, like you're gonna go to the park for an hour longer than you anticipated, but that's gonna get you to the Louvre.
Right.
You know what I mean? So throw the schedule out the window, be really flexible with them, and pack light.
Yeah.
Pack light,
Yeah.
really light.
You
Pack
wanted
nothing.
you wanted to go with
I
like a Jan Sport backpack,
I would love
basically.
that'd be like my dream.
Hey, I do a pretty good job for being a woman.
You do.
Yeah. I think that the best parts about our trip were I had a tip from a mom at school whose brother is a pastry chef in France who said, bring your big real stroller and get a hotel in the center of town where you can walk it all. And what I was blown away by was Sebastian's ability to walk like 15, 20,000 steps a day. We were constantly on to the next place. But like you said, it was about like, where is the park? Where is the trampoline area in the Tuileries Gardens? And we didn't have too much pressure around what we wanted to see or overscheduled. So whether it was like the museum to see the Mona Lisa at the Louvre, like it was art light, right? It was like, can we see one thing? And then it's redefining what good looks like on an international trip with kids. It was like, we got to see the Mona Lisa.
Sure.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Also, I think AI was really helpful in like building itineraries for and gathering information for the trip. I felt that was really helpful. I just like prompted like going to France, going to Paris with 3 little boys under this age. What can we do that's in nature? Where are some gluten-free or healthy restaurants? What are, and you just prompt it and then it kind of aggregated all these like mom blogs for me, which was helpful. And then taking that and putting that into a Google Maps so that when we were there, we could be like, well, we're right here. Like, what did
Yeah.
I star in this area?
Yeah, you
And
did a good job of utilizing that as a tool to like narrow the options down. Because if you just do a search for like fun things to do in Paris with kids, there's like 30 lists. You need a list of the lists.
I know
And then
that's
you could just
overwhelming.
watch a YouTube,
Mm.
which we ended up doing, like a YouTube video. And that was actually really effective because you got to see like, oh, that does look cool, as
Mhm.
opposed to just reading an article. But yeah, that's a great tip.
Yeah.
Well, I think that'd be a really positive way to use AI,
Yeah. I don't know
just
about
to aggregate it and give it to you in a list, and you can give it the ages, and you could almost say like, and my 4-year-old hates dinosaurs.
yeah.
So AI will be like, don't send them to the dinosaur museum at all. Like it'll figure that out for you.
Yeah. I don't know. I saw that on Instagram maybe or somewhere on social and was like, that's such a smart idea. And it really, really helped. But our trip would have been so different if we didn't bring our big stroller because we were able to be flexible. Tashin fell asleep in it. Sebastian fell asleep in it.
Yeah.
He looked so funny. Like he's so tall sitting in that stroller. We were definitely getting the looks
Oh yeah,
like,
we got lots of looks that were just like, "Who are you people? You're definitely American." You got like almost a 4-year-old like chilling in a stroller.
I
But
know.
it's like, dude, this is like the 10,000th step of the day.
Yeah.
Like sorry,
Yeah.
And again, like we didn't use the tube or the metro that much because we had the stroller and it was like carrying it and loading and unloading.
Hmm.
Again, like when we have like a 10, an 8, and a 6, like all
Hop
you're doing
on.
is walking and hopping on. Like you're not having to deal with that. But yes, for young families, a really good stroller, like your best stroller.
Yeah.
Don't take the umbrella
Umbrella.
one,
Mm-mm.
like because cobblestones will not be kind to you.
Mm-mm. Well, thinking about that trip makes me want to plan another one and makes me think about 2025. And since this episode is also part of our New Year's episode, let's talk about manifesting.
Oh, let's manifest.
Let's manifest right now. Children's book. You're going to be a New York Times seller before me. What's next? Are you making New Year's resolutions? How do you feel about New Year's resolutions?
I love making them, and they're the same every year. Like literally, it's down to like one word, and it's like 5 things.
Surf
Well,
more.
like it's always like
Read
read
more.
like yeah, surf like twice a
More.
week,
Yeah.
not more than that, 2 or 3 times.
4 or 5 times.
No.
Just kidding.
Gosh, I wish I had my phone on like spacing on it. But yeah, reading is always like on there. Like I love reading. I love books. But again, I get to like 7:30 p.m. and I'm like, oh, I just want to like,
Eat some food.
yeah. And it's like, it's a habit like anything else. Like make it the habit and it becomes the habit, like you have to make it first. So I love New Year's though. I love the idea of like a fresh start. I love the idea that like you've got this chance and this opportunity to like be whoever you want to be, and like you can be kind and jolly all the time, and like
and never have a short fuse.
yeah, you can be this amazing person that like just shows up on January 1st.
You're perfect.
And then like January 2nd comes, you're like, but that pizza sounds so good. Like, can I just order that one little pizza?
Yeah.
And then like, it all goes sideways pretty quick after that. But I love the idea of it. And the things that are on my resolution list, gosh, I don't know why I'm blanking on them. But definitely reading, both fiction and nonfiction. And I love to read like more like the classics that for some reason I didn't read or didn't finish. Like Don Quixote was like, it's like this massive 800-page book and it's incredible. But I like stopped at page 150 for whatever reason like 3 years ago. And it's like, so.
You like to follow through on those. If I'm reading a book and I'm like, this is boring, I'm like, let's go find another one. But
Yeah.
my books really tend to be like health and wellness or some version of a Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
My mini books.
Yeah, but you deal with like real stuff all day, so it's like you need just pure
Escape.
entertainment.
that or the Great British Baking Show for me.
Yeah.
Um, well, I think it is important to look at the beginning of the year and plan for things. I know you know my crazy big calendar from Jesse Itzler. I think he calls it the big ass
Mm,
calendar, and Kevin's rule and planning things. I think it really served us last year, and even a little bit the year before. Like we planned our trip. We, like we started doing special time with Toshin to like, make sure he didn't get stuck in the middle without that time on his own. Um, if you could complete a couple things next year and they made you feel amazing, like what would they be? Like what do you wanna look back at the end of next year and say, like, we did that. I'm really glad we did that. That was a milestone, or that was important to me, or that really like changed the way I felt about 2025.
hmm. That's a great question. Um, I think 2 buckets. I think there'd be like the me bucket and then like the family bucket or whatever.
Mhm.
I think for me, like reading every day, writing every day, like that's a habit too.
Mhm.
If I want to publish something, you got to write. You can't just like think about writing. Got to
Mhm.
write every day. Got to face that blank page and like go for it.
Mhm.
Um, Reading, writing, like moving my body,
Mhm.
whether it's surfing or walking or, going for a run or something like that. Like personally, that would probably make me feel pretty happy.
Yeah.
I think the family side of it, like you really did like manifest going on a trip. Like you made it happen because you wanted it to happen and you spoke it into existence and you made it real. I don't have I off the top of my head anything quite like that, but I think it's more just like, be more patient with the kids, like be less rigid about um, certain things that, I'm rigid about. Like try to improve in like a positive way, be more present and be like less rigid. That's the way I would like really sum it up. And that would filter to both like, hey, are you open to going on this trip? Yeah, let's do it.
Mhm.
Or like, can we clean up that mess tomorrow or like later when the kids go to bed? Like, sure, let's just do that,
Mhm.
you know? But
I think I think if I let you be a little bit more rigid without so much resistance, you would probably have more patience. I think if it's just like go mother load and I went and let you kind of have that like deep breath that you need sometimes, but sometimes I bring up you're being too
yeah,
rigid.
I mean,
And that's not really
I would
fair.
too. I mean, we deal with other rigid personalities who are like more rigid than me
Yeah.
in certain
That's pretty
contexts. And
funny.
you're like, holy moly, this is like exhausting. Like,
Yeah.
then I turn into the chill person because it's like every relation, you kind of like do that. Either you wind yourselves up together or like I do the opposite. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to like just chill out. This is way too intense.
Why is
So I
hard?
imagine for you, it feels super intense. So it's like, yeah, I would, I need to do a better job helping in that way by decreasing my own intensity. But um, yeah, I don't know. I think,
I think it's maybe at certain points when family dynamics change, you add another child, you move into your own house, um, th- the rigidity can either like increase or decrease. And I
sure.
think that those changes can cause a jarring effect for someone who maybe is less rigid or like wants to be an amoeba, like really go with the flow or
Yeah.
whatever. But generally, if all things are pretty stagnant or like, I look at our life now, it's like, okay, we've been in our house for 2 years. The the first scratch has happened on the car kind of a thing. It's not going to be perfect. It's not
Hmm.
like the day we moved in. Julian's not an itty bitty baby. Like he's
Hmm.
kind of toddling around. Like we're at a plateau part. It feels like there's not a big change coming. Like I'm cool to motherload. I'm cool with whatever you need to do to launch us. I think it's only in those changes where you're on vacation and it increases, or you're moving to a new house and it increases, there's a new kid and it increases.
Sure.
Like it's those pressure moments that make it a little bit hard. But like right now, like I don't know that I necessarily would be super worried about you being rigid. And I think we're at a place where, decorating the Christmas tree and you're like, oh my God, that's a baby. Those are glass bulbs. Like, I'm just going to take the baby and we're going to go play in the other room. And I have to be just okay with that. Like, I'm going to decorate the tree with Tasha and Sebastian, and we're going to make sure the baby doesn't get glass in his fingers or
Yeah.
that he's not like pulling on the tree branches or the lights. And I also need to like accept that this is making everybody feel more calm and better. And it's not always going to be like the Hallmark movie of we're all in this room decorating the
I
tree
don't think
together.
anything's the Hallmark moment unless you've like just recently gone through something and you're all together and you truly have that deep perspective that most of what you worry about every day
Doesn't matter.
doesn't matter. Um, or, it shows up on a Christmas card because it looks great for that one split second. But I think New Year's and New Year's resolutions, it's a great time to have these conversations. It's like great to know, like, hey, I want to go on another trip, or like, hey, like you need to do a better job at this. I need to do a better job at this. Like, how can I support you? I think it's more about honestly, not necessarily the resolutions themselves and the list and like January 1st, let's go, even though that's exactly what I do.
Yeah.
Um, it's like right now, December 5th, when we're taping this, till like the end of the year, are you having those conversations? Because some of it won't happen.
Mhm.
Maybe all of it will for certain of you out there who don't have kids yet. And like you can really commit to the lifestyle change or idea that you really want to achieve.
Mhm.
Um, and others, it's like all you're doing then between now and then is having these great conversations with your spouse or partner about like goals, and like even just having the conversation I think is a good thing.
It's fun. It feels good.
But I love the idea of a fresh start,
Yeah.
like a clean shave,
Mhm. I'm excited for
trim your
2025.
nails, get
Yeah.
a
Put
haircut,
it on your
make
list.
your bed and go out there.
You've got the best list, babe. Trim your nails. Check.
Hey, it's got to
Feels
be
good to
done.
check it off.
Yeah,
Feels good to check it off.
sometimes you need some easy wins.
I know. I know.
Shower,
Yeah.
win,
Yeah. It's
put
true.
shoes on.
I mean, I don't think people understand who don't have kids. Like it is fun to drive around with you when you see like the young kids walking across the crosswalk to the coffee shop, and you're like, they definitely don't have kids yet. It's Saturday at 10. They're getting their first coffee. And just to think about like all the time that we had that we not wasted, squandered, whatever, like I think there is something about the pressure of being a parent where you do get a window of time and you say like, I'm going to go surf. I'm going to go get this part of my job done. Or I just feel like more efficient since having kids. When I look at like the growth
Sure.
trajectory of my business, when I look at the decisions I've made, my risk appetite, it's all been like, I don't know, you just do it for your kids, and you also have to make a decision in the
Totally.
limited amount of time that you have. And because you have a deadline, you just do it.
Totally. But on the flip side of that, like those people that we're looking at, they have their own like if it's if it's a boy and a girl, it's like she's worried about like is he going to really commit to me long term if they're not engaged? Like she's might be
Yeah.
worried about like or they might be married and trying to have a baby and dealing with that stress, and like we just see them like walking a dog being like lucky, lucky.
Yeah, I
They have that free
know.
time. But their own reality is like totally opposite, or they're trying to like make inroads in a new business, or they're an entrepreneur. Like so it's all relative, right? We're looking at them like back in time from our perspective, and they're like they might be looking at us being like, wow, they have three young gentlemen and like
Yeah.
they're getting to be the coach. Gosh, I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Like it's all a matter of perspective.
You do a good job of
But
bringing me into that.
January 1st is a good day to start fresh.
So let's go back in time because this relationship started so quick. I saw you and I was all hard eyes. And then you invited me up to LA for our first date. Do you remember it?
Now I do. Yes. After you reminded me
Yeah.
exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was living in West LA
Hmm.
and you came up in your big truck. It was your lifted like F-150.
35-inch mud tires.
And which like was a really
Crazy.
amazing thing to see pull up. You're like, wow, amazing. Um, you were wearing a zip up hoodie. I think it was a zip up,
Hmm.
and it had flowers on it. And it was kind of like faded. It was like, yeah, yeah. It was like you obviously like loved it and wore it, and maybe it was like your little safety blanket for that day.
Hmm.
Um, and we went to Venice, and one of my guy friends was like hosting like a bocce ball party thing on the beach, and we went and played bocce ball. Um, and you like fit right in. You just like, I mean, drove to LA. You didn't know anybody.
Hmm.
You just kind of trusted that like I was going to be there hanging out with you,
Hmm.
and like that would make everything okay.
Do you remember when I got there and I had to pull my striker evacuation chair out of the back of the bed of my truck and put it in your house?
I do. And then did you give someone a ride on it?
I gave you a ride down the
Yeah. And you
stairs.
demonstrated that even like a 200 plus pound man could be moved by like a 125-pound woman like really easily up and down those
Oh,
stairs. Yeah,
it's
you
fun.
full sales pitch. It was great.
Yeah, it's funny to look back. I mean, Johnson and Johnson pharmaceutical sales to Stryker evacuation equipment to cancer and genetics, but that was probably the funniest sales role I ever had because I would take those security guards at hospitals bigger than you and have to tilt them back and push them
Yeah.
down the stairs. But and then we went you gave me a tour of your house and I saw pictures of CJ, who I went to high school with,
Mm,
and Jeremy, we just had all these overlaps. It was really fun. And I met Heather that day, who's like one of my best friends now, your best friend Shane's wife. It did feel like it just felt easy. And
yeah,
then that day lasted forever.
it did.
We went to sushi.
Yeah, I even ate it,
You even ate
putting
it.
on my best little show for you.
Yeah.
I love this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm adventurous and outgoing. I explore with my food.
When's the last time you think we've had sushi?
Couldn't tell you.
Uh, Pre-pregnancy with Sebastian, you and I.
I like the idea of sushi. I mean, and I like
Sugarfish.
being there and I like having a couple pieces, but then I'm looking for like the ter- chicken teriyaki bowl to like really
Yeah.
bring me home.
Yeah. I always think it's so funny when we go to like the shared plate dinners and then you're like, let's do In-N-Out on the way home.
Yeah.
Like, why are we even saying yes
I
to
know.
these?
Well, it's hard. Sometimes you're in a share mode. You're like, yeah, I'm down for this shared experience. And then sometimes you're like, I just want my own little plate of food. You people stay away from my little like plate castle.
Yeah.
Get your forks out of here. Um, yeah, that was our first date.
That was really fun. It was really fun. I feel like you've given Sebastian your food scarcity habits. Like I can't even like grab a bite off his plate. He's like, "Get out of here, mom." Just think that you guys are never full. If I could if I could make this our house with 3 boys, um, just better, whether it be like food or love or like what would you change? What would be ideal? I mean, this is like this is how we manifest 2025 to be the
Oh
best
my
year ever.
God.
Like what do we need? What do we need in our house? What would change?
From like my perspective,
Yeah.
just less piles of stuff. Like just put stuff away. That's why I'm laughing because you're saying this in this deep, meaningful way, and I'm like, just put your stuff away. Like, don't pile it up. Like, it's really calming to me, like to be in our space and have it feel kind of like a museum.
I know.
But a museum doesn't have anything in it. That's the point. It's like minimalist. The art, the walls, or the art, or whatever it is. It's just like I don't want stuff. Feels like it's climbing on me. So yeah, that'd be the space. And the other thing would be just like you cooking. I would say like you got to be adventurous in that kitchen and have fun in there and don't hold back. Like push yourself to cook different things that you have seen or want to try
Yeah.
because that'll make the kids more involved and it'll help me,
Be more
also.
adventurous with food.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like do sushi. I don't know how to do it, but you could do it probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
I
actually a
it
great call.
just involves a fish and a knife, right?
Yeah. I think I'm just worried that I'm like most parents. I'm like worried about the nutrition they're eating. So I'm like, well, if I make the chocho bean pasta with the meat sauce and the marinara and I, grate some zucchini into it or make some roasted broccoli, I know that they're going to eat it and be full and be happy. And like,
Sure.
it's so part of like how women or moms can be programmed from a young age to just make sure that
Right.
everyone's fed. But I think you're right. It does. Like whenever I get in a rut, like the only app that I pay for on my phone is New York Times Cooking. And it does. It makes me
Yeah.
excited. It makes me adventurous. It pushes me to learn. And I want our boys to know how to make all that stuff. I think
Yeah.
you do a great job. You've got your dad's chicken thighs.
Yeah.
You've got your barbecue going.
Mhm.
Do you like to cook?
I do. I think like baking would be really fun, but it also like you got to use real butter for that to like make some of these amazing. Well, maybe not like Sweet Laurel doesn't use,
Mm-mm.
like there's people who make really good stuff that's not like, but I think it'd be really fun. It's more like chemistry or not chemistry. It's more like exact and precise and less like artistic. But I think that, yeah, I enjoy cooking. I enjoy providing the meal.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that like in olden times I would have speared a cougar,
Yeah.
a saber-toothed tiger and helped, the family. Um, but yeah, I think that, again, that's really nice of you to ask me. Like I feel like I should be asking you all these questions about like how to improve. What can I do to make you're like, just don't be there.
No.
Just stop
No.
talking.
No, stop it. I do really, it's a totally different experience when you cook versus I cook when I'm cooking. And it just has to be because we're different people and we have different priorities and different things make us feel happy or calm or comfortable in our space. Like you made an awesome dinner the other night, teriyaki chicken, steak, rice, veggies. I was in the playroom on the floor. I didn't even come in the kitchen. And then you came into the playroom, you're like, dinner is on the table.
Yeah.
And that's such a different experience than when I'm cooking, which is, I know Chris says, clean plate,
I
messy
know. I think
chef.
it's a great book title. I think it's a great book title. And I'm going to like, this will probably be the first commercial use of it for trademark purposes. Sorry, because I know the way the world works.
Yeah.
Someone's going to
Steal
swipe it.
Okay.
This is it. So it'd be, what was it? Wait, it was messy chef, clean plate.
Yeah.
Or clean plate, messy chef.
Yeah.
Like it's a totally clean plate. It's got like all the balance. It's
All
got
the
the
Fab
Fab Four.
Four.
It's this very clean plate. But just like, dude, the kitchen after is like, what are we doing?
I'm sorry.
It's fine, but like
because
that's
we've got each kid in a kitchen
I
tower.
know.
Everybody's got their own little knife and cutting board.
I know, but it's so interesting because the plate looks so pretty, and then you photograph it and it looks perfect, and I just want to be like, oh my gosh, why did we need 3 pots for the like? Why is this stuck to that? There's like 13 spoons out, like, and again, you're involving the kids, but anyways, I think that's a good book title.
It is a great book title, and it just perfectly encapsulates how we're so different in that
Yes.
I walk into the kitchen, there's like the cutting board with the meat that you've cut and maybe the roasting tray, but all the rice has been plated.
I know.
Everyone's water is on the table, everyone has a napkin, and it is really smooth. We all came to the table, and it's really hard to get kids to sit for a period of time, so I can understand how and you voiced it to me, how frustrating it is for me to be like halfway done plating the table, halfway done putting food on people's plates.
Yeah.
Waters aren't out. People are missing forks. I know. It's just different. It's just who we are in.
Sure.
As
And my
example.
book would be if I brought back Be Bad by Chris, which maybe I will in 2025. Oh my gosh. It'll be a lot of the same food that you saw before, but no, but it would be dirty plate, very clean chef.
Yeah.
It could be a 2-book series. Yeah. Maybe Be Bad by Chris will reappear, because he is still
He's still being bad.
He's still being bad,
You're
but
pretty
he's
good,
being
though.
pretty good. He's
Yeah.
trying to.
You have eggs sometimes with your spinach or your veggies in it. You have your smoothies. I think you do a good job of prioritizing our kids. You know, you say messy plate, clean chef, but like I think you know the Fab Four, you know what's important to me. Even when you're cooking, it's simple. You know, sometimes simple
Yeah.
gets boring,
Totally.
but it fills my heart, and I know like our kids are taken care of, they're eating clean, their lunch boxes are loaded with fruits and veggies and all the things. And they're probably going to get bored and tell us they're bored, but yeah, it's a priority for me when I think about 2025 and manifesting. I'm super excited about 2025. I had so many launches this year, and I think that took its toll a little bit on, not like in a crazy bad way, but just more launches means, more website pages, more purchasing, more forecasting, and more ads, like all the things, like everyone had to work harder, and it was a little bit crunched there at the end, but I'm excited for 2025 just to like have everything out.
Yeah.
And launch one thing, which is like new and different and exciting and soon to come, but to really, focus on growth in the kitchen and getting, I don't know, keeping our family healthy and taking a trip maybe. And
yeah, you've got a great little team. It's a very little team. It's a good little squad.
Small and mighty.
You're right, small and mighty. You did your new products, some new products this year. I do think I'm gonna put it out there. This is what I'm gonna manifest. I tried to manifest it to you already.
Yeah.
But I think for your next protein powder flavor, just do a limited run of like peppermint.
I know.
For next holiday season, because I think the pumpkin was really delicious. The chai, I think peppermint. Ooh, yeah, baby.
Okay.
You don't have to do
like
a bunch
vanilla
of
peppermint or chocolate mint.
Well, peppermint
you
is
want
usually
your like peppermint ice cream.
I don't know. I'm just saying, just an idea to put out there. But yeah, and then just to close the loop on the book title, I think it works best if it's clean plate and then messy chef below.
Yeah.
So that the clean plate is like, sorry, I'm just really thinking about that. Because you've been thinking about your next book, which you are, in, I don't know. And maybe they probably want to keep it in the Body Love series and Body Love and all that. But it's a catchy title. I'll ask the podcast guys after if they agree. And they'll go, yeah, that's a great title, Chris. Good job. You did great today.
Yeah.
Especially that book title. That was really good. Really contributed to Kelly's business there.
No, you do contribute to my business. Like you.
Peppermint book title.
You
2025. Manifest.
Manifesting 2025.
Yep.
Yeah, lots. I'd like to continue what we did in 2024 with our kids in 2025, which is like we did do a lot of beach days when people weren't feeling great, and we picked them up from school and we went down to our local beach, or we got them outside in nature at the park. I think we spent a lot of time in our kitchen, and maybe some of our meals were boring, but they were nutritious and nutrient dense and blood sugar balancing and all the things that I care about. I'd like to see you get some time to publish your book, and that means maybe me not launching as many products and being the mother load a little more.
Yeah. Well, I agree on the kids. Like, if you push against people, like, you're going to meet resistance. If you push against nature, like, you're going to find inner peace and calm. So, and I think that goes to the books too. You don't even need to ask me about it. I'll finish it when I do.
I know you will.
All right.
Well, thanks, babe. We're too far away. I love you. Thanks for coming in.
I love you too. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being
Thanks to the crew for being here.
Yeah.
And
thanks, guys. This was fun.
Cool. Yeah, next time I'm on, hopefully there'll be some other questions that people want to ask, and I'll answer them to the best of my knowledge and ability. Take care.
Take care.
Right.
Thank you for listening to Be Well by Kelly. Please subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Learn more at BeWellByKelly.com and follow me on Instagram at BeWellByKelly. I would love if you picked up my books, Body Love and Body Love Every Day. They're sold on Amazon and at all major booksellers.